Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we're going to be diving into your month of March for any energy, insights, or guidance on their way in, as well as for Pisces season. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so welcome back, beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here today on the channel. It's wonderful to have you here. We are going to be looking into your March messages, which is an interesting time as we change between seasons and things are starting to develop underground, and there's just a really cool energy coming through with all of these that are really a lot to do with that underground energy and things moving up to the surface and the winds of change. So we're going to be diving into that as well as Pisces season. But if you are new, do be sure to subscribe to the channel as I put out new readings for each month as well as 2-week readings. And I also do educational videos on charm casting, oracle, and tarot and other sorts of things. So if you want to stick around, do feel free to subscribe or hit the notification bell to be notified of each of the videos I put out. And if you want to support the channel even further, do feel free to check out the Kindred tip jar down below. Everything that goes in there goes straight back into the channel, into the decks and supplies that I have here, or into supporting this space to keep it running here on YouTube. So thank you to everyone who has checked that out. But you can also check out the private readings that I do down below if you want to look further into any reading here, a relationship reading, or others. All of that will be down below. But let's go ahead and look at these piles. So for each of the piles here, I have a different crystal showing up on the top of each of them. So here for pile number 1, we have the crystal of a snowflake obsidian. This one's very snowflakey, but it is a snowflake obsidian nonetheless. So this one might be calling out to you. So that is pile number 1. For pile number 2 here, we have this piece of raw azurite. It's very sparkly. It has this really deep blue to it, and is in this raw form. So that is pile number 2. And then here for pile number 3, we have this piece of what I believe is Sodalite. So that is a little pretty denim looking blue for you all for pile number 3. So before you start rushing off to the timestamps, I like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me, just to kind of connect with your intuition, to kind of ground your soul, and to really get yourself ready for these readings, and to decide which one really connects with you most. So let's go ahead and take a deep cleansing breath here together. So as always, there's no right or wrong way to choose your piles here. You can choose all 3 of the piles, you can flip-flop between them, take different bits that resonate and leave ones that don't. There is no right or wrong way. So all of the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video. And like I said, if you want to support this channel, the Kindred tip jar is down below. Different private readings that you might be interested in for snail mail readings or digital ones will be down below as well, and any other offerings that I might be providing at this time to support the channel. And you can also check out my Instagram to keep up to date on all of those and other interesting behind the scene things. So do feel free to check those all out, and let's go ahead and get started with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this piece of snowflake obsidian, then this is the pile for you here for March. I'm going to go ahead and set this down so you can see it during your reading today, as we are going to be using the charms as well as several different oracle decks. We're actually going to be using 2 different tarot decks today. I felt really called to that for kind of that mix between that March energy of things starting to, especially here in the northern hemisphere, begin to kind of come up from the soil, right? There's a lot of things starting to emerge in the month of March, I feel like, for a lot of us seasonally as well as energetically. So I want to see how that comes in. But also we're going to look at your Pisces energy, which is why I was feeling called towards 2 different decks. But the 2 that we're going to be using are both the Line Strider Tarot here for your Pisces energy, since it's got such a watery feel. And then for your March energy, we're going to be looking in with the deck that my little sister actually handmade for me a couple of Christmases ago, and I absolutely love it and felt really called to it today. So we're going to be doing that. This is the Star Sisters Tarot. And yeah, let's just go ahead and start really getting into it, right? So feel free to send your energy in through time and space, start getting settled, get yourself ready to go, feel really comfortable and cozy here with me. I've got like a nice warm winter knit hat on and like nice little socks and fluffy things to feel cozy with you all. So do feel free to get cozy, feel free to send your energy in, and let's get getting right into your month of March, right? So we're going to be looking into 3 different cards of your main energy for March here. So what is coming in for you energetically and most prominently for March, Group 1? For those who chose Group 1, what is the energy coming through for them? Group 1. Okay, let's see what else we have coming in here first. Group 1. Feels really quick. Things feel really fast. So I want to see. Okay, we've got the Star as well as the 7 of Wands. And I'm going to go ahead and take this 4 of Wands as well because that was coming up from the bottom of the deck. So we're going to see what all of these mean. So like I said, we have the 4 of Wands, the 7 of Wands, as well as the Star. And then the main player here is the Lovers. Interesting. So I really see, like I said, I felt collectively for all of you before even getting into this reading, just in general, I feel like collectively there's a lot of energy going around right now where a lot of us are starting to feel like, just like the seasons of the year, like things are coming up from the soil. We're starting to hit that point where things are going to start melting. The seasons are on their way to shifting within this month, from moving from winter to spring for a lot of us, at least on the northern hemisphere, but also in the southern hemisphere, right? You're moving also from one season to the next when you're moving from both summer into fall. So with that change of seasons, I do see the Star showcasing a shift in energy. The Star has a lot to do with illuminating things, creating navigation as well. Just like with the stars, right? A lot of people would navigate with the stars and still do to this day use them as a way of navigating and kind of finding our place in the world. And so when we think of that on an energetic level, I feel like there's a renewal in the idea that like the charts are changing, the star charts are changing, your personal navigation, what you used to follow with your true north, or what you used to find as a guiding post for you, is maybe shifting a little bit, changing to the left, changing to the right. You're not feeling like it needs to be in the same place anymore. And I feel like that does create a bit of uneasiness, right? Especially when we have something that's a strong foundation that's shifting or changing, that always creates an opportunity for us to emerge into something new. But we have to go through this bit of an awkward phase. And so I feel like March has this awkward phase of you shifting and changing. And what might be shifting and changing here is within this Lovers card. The Lovers card has a lot to do with making choices, and choices about, like, just like you would choose a person in a monogamous relationship, right? Or like a lot of people would think with the Lovers card. For me personally, what I'm seeing here more is that choice of shifting your navigation, of choosing a new lighthouse, as choosing a new form of navigation, and what it is that you're navigating towards is shifting towards something that you love and enjoy more, right? Making more space for something you love, making more space for someone you love in your life. And the only way to do that is to kind of shift your focus and to navigate a little bit differently. We also have the 4 of Wands and the 7 of Wands showing up here. So 2 Wands energy, which is why I felt like with the Lovers card, it has something to do with like, lighting up that fire again. Like it's almost like a bonfire, and you've moved camp and you're navigating towards somewhere else. And there's definitely this movement, but it feels like, it doesn't feel like you're going to figure it out within the month of March necessarily as to where that is. It feels very overarching for your year, and it doesn't feel like it's specifically going to be figured out this month. And that's why I'm feeling like this energy is coming in. We have the 4 of Wands, which has a lot to do with rest, taking time to introspect as well. It's not the kind of rest where you rest for 12 hours and you're like really out and you're like, it's like a small nap. It's like just taking a little bit of time, resting, introspecting maybe once or twice a day, a week, and just giving yourself a little bit more space to maybe even journal during this month could be really useful for you to help you figure out where that shift is happening and towards what. Like I said, it's towards something, it's making a choice to make more space for something that you love. Maybe that's a hobby, maybe that's a person, maybe that's just sticking up for yourself a little bit more, but that's showing up here. And then with the Seven of Wands, it showcases that for a while it's been very much underground. The Seven of Wands has a lot to do with kind of masking, holding back information, withholding information from others. It can have a lot to do with secrecy and sort of laying low, or a passive kind of energy. And I think things are starting to activate, right? So this is really what I'm getting here for your month so far. Much more bigger picture things than small picture things this month for you. It has less to do with the little things, the small things that are happening, and rather bigger shifts that are overall going to affect those smaller things. I hope that makes sense, right? It's something much more overarching. So with that said, let's go ahead and get your message here for your, what do I like to call these? Your blessings, right? So the idea of blessings, I know a lot of people don't really love or jive with that word, but I like to also give you the option to see this card as mostly an energy that's going to be most on your side this month. The best tool in your tool belt, the best thing to kind of whip out when you need it. So let's see what that energy is that's most on its side, and a blessing on your side, or some luck on your side this month. So group 1, a blessing or tool most on your side. Ooh, you got the Luna Moth, which is so fitting for what we've been talking about, especially with that star card. And it says here, radiate. The Luna Moth with different phases on their wings, and then also them illuminated by this big, full, rich, emotional, and it just feels really empathetic kind of moon. And then right behind here, it also says, how am I the light in the darkness, right? So how are you the light? What is changing and shifting within your own light? How is it going through a new phase? And like I was talking about with that awkwardness, right? I feel you're going through like an awkward teen phase, or an awkward, like you don't have all the information. You're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants and trying to figure it out as you go. And the more you learn those stars, the more you see how the sky and the navigation that you used to use is shifting, the more you're going to be able to plot that chart, a new star map, and be able to navigate it a lot smoother. But right now, to make those new stars, to make that information come forward, it's going to take a bit of that awkwardness. And that's what I'm getting here, is that it's actually going to be something that's very beneficial to you, this awkwardness, going through the phases of this moon and coming out stronger on the other end. And also that something new might illuminate for you this month as well. Whenever I see the Luna Moth, it has a lot to do with, again, that illumination in the darkness. So the darkness being the unknown. So something is going to be coming to light as well, especially something that's maybe a secret that's been held back from you or from another, but there's some new information, a chunk of information that could be really useful to you that might come to light this month and help you to navigate your path, and chart some new star charts for yourself to navigate forward. So that's what we have here with the Luna Moth and Radiate. But let's just take a quick turn over here to the Sea Melodies deck and see what is coming through for you for relationships this month. I like to pull one specific card for relationships to see energetically what's coming through. You can send in just generally for your relationships, as this is a collective reading, but you can also send in specifically for a relationship you'd be interested in looking into. It could be a platonic one, a romantic one, a friendship, a relationship with yourself or spirit, however you wish. But let's see, group 1, what do you have coming in for relationships for the month of March? What do we need to know? Okay, let's see what you got here. The ocean, be beautiful, mysterious, wild, and free. And then we have this massive ocean wave just sort of like almost crashing right back into itself, right? So I feel like there's something that's folding or unfolding within relationships right now that are getting tossed and turned a little bit. But again, it doesn't feel in a sloshy ocean kind of bad way, but more in like, again, like almost like you're turning topsoil to make it stronger and better and more fertile for the next growth. So I feel like there might be things coming to light as well within your relationships even that might be related to your path and what might be changing here overarchingly. But also just in general within your relationships, the ocean has a lot to do with our emotions, things going in and out with the tides. So there could be really heightened emotions this month, especially since we're in Pisces season. There can be a lot of emotions moving and sloshing around. So just being aware of that can be helpful in being not only empathetic to yourself, but others as you navigate this time. So do keep that in your back pocket as you move through conversations and emotions this month, and to be a little bit more tender with those that you are with and having these conversations with. And then lastly, for your last part of this reading, before we do toss the charms on top to get those last little bits of information, I want to pull you a message for Pisces season. But before we do feel free to give this reading a like if you really did enjoy it. It really does help the channel continue to grow and thrive here, and that support really does make a difference. So thank you to everyone who has liked the video. But we are going to go ahead and look into the Pisces season for you, right? So Pisces is the sign of the dreamer. They love to believe, they love to imagine, create. They're such a dreamy, flowing, not in a wild, it's not like a super wild feeling to them. Like they're not like sort of intense in their wildness, but more free flowing. And so I want to see what's kind of free flowing into your life if you allow those gates to open, right? And allow yourself to play around in that dreamy, head in the clouds kind of imagination, fantasy realm. So what is Pisces bringing in for your creativity, for your beliefs, for your personal sort of imagination? So we have first off the Page of Wands, which we have a lot of wands showing up here. Wands have a lot to do with your passions, especially passion projects, the things that you're going towards just because you really like them, right? It's not about if society likes it or if it's good for money or if it's good for your family or if it's good for all of these things, right? Those are things still to consider. But there's a lot coming in here about like refreshing the things that you're really passionate about and giving them a fresh start, giving them a little bit more attention this month. So what else is coming through for Pisces season? The Dreamer, group 1. Okay, let's see what you have here. So you also have the Hanged Man or the Hanged One, and it was actually reversed, which usually represents sort of this lion or this tiger being kind of tamed down or kind of held back from something. It can be a bit uncomfortable, but seeing as we have it this way, there's a lot about showcasing that, playing around in that dreamy sense, sort of like that Four of Wands that we were talking about earlier, and knowing that you might get a little bit tied up as you work through your passions this month doesn't mean that they aren't worth pursuing. You're going to find your way out of the traps that you're going to find yourself in. You're going to find your way out of all the questions that you're going to be trying to solve. I do believe that you're very resilient as well as very resourceful, and more than you probably think you are. But yeah, having the Page of Wands and the Hanged One on your side for Pisces season is definitely giving a lot of this otherworldly nature to them as well. The Page of Wands is an adventurer. So if we're adventuring into our subconscious realm, that's also adventuring and really listening, I would say, also to your dreams this month, really listening to your dreams and seeing what adventures they take you on, right? Because the Hanged Man has a lot about taking time off and kind of holding yourself back or withholding something. So if we have what we're withholding and falling into that space, this really makes me think of the dream space. So recording your dreams and journaling can be really helpful as well to figure out what it is that your subconscious is trying to navigate you towards as you move through the month, and could be really useful to you, especially since it's related to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius has a lot to do with like the Archer and being very direct and finding a direction. or a new navigation or path, right? So I can really see that. And I also see you opening up a lot more of yourself, right? They have this entire open chest. They're really allowing themselves to be open and free and wild in a new space and a new environment, right? Because I really do feel like they are like adventuring the world is what I see with the Page of Wands. They have a lot to do with travel, adventure, and moving from place to place, and learning new cultures and new ways of living. And so as you learn a new way of navigating, you're also opening yourself up and being a little bit more vulnerable with yourself. But in turn, that's also going to be giving you a lot more freedom where you felt kind of held back before. It's kind of like the more modern phrase of like, I'm cringe, but at least I'm free. So that's kind of what I'm getting here, is this awkward, cringy stage where you just feel a little bit like, oh, I'm not doing it right. I don't know all the answers. I have to ask for help. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm just tiptoeing around and hoping it works. And I feel like you're going through that like awkward fumbly stage, and that it's okay. Like I'm getting a lot of like, it's okay. That's totally useful and helpful for you in gaining new resources and knowledge. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you with those, but we're going to go ahead and pull you for your final last little bits and bobs messages, some charms. And if you guys are interested in seeing more about my charms, I just did a recent video, which you can check out over here or down below in the description, all about my charm set. And I also have an entire master guide video on charm casting if that's something you're interested in. But let's go ahead and let you send your energy in, and let's go ahead and mix these up. Okay. Interestingly, I actually ended up putting back this little paper star, but we had another showcase of that star energy showing up here. So I just felt like I needed to bring that up, but let's go ahead and zoom you in so you can see. But the things that I'm seeing here, we have the letter either Z as it kind of fell out, or also N. So if you were looking at that Seven of Swords energy, and it's all about, right, that masking, withholding, secrecy, or new resources that haven't come to light kind of energy, it might be coming to light around something or someone's name around Z or N. So you can keep that in mind. We have more of that travel direction energy. I was even talking about that Sagittarius with the arrow and the archer, and then we actually ended up getting the arrowhead. So there's a lot about making your own path, and the idea of the arrowhead too is, right, you have to like really whittle down and carve out this arrowhead to make that path and to really make that arrow shoot properly. And so I really think you're going through that phase of trying to figure out how to create that direction that you are and where you want to head. And then also we have more to do with that travel energy. So some of you might actually be traveling this month, or trying to figure out your travel plans even as well for the direction you might be taking in a more like literal physical sense. But also whenever I see the Eiffel Tower, it has a lot to do with the idea of like the historical significance of the Eiffel Tower, and that when it was first put up, a lot of people hated the Eiffel Tower. They wanted it taken down. People were protesting against it. And now it's a national like monument for them, for their country. And so the idea that it went from something that was so, complete opposites and extremes is also showcasing that you're really moving from one foundation of thinking or one belief of thinking to another, and that it can be wildly different. And so that's something to be gentle with yourself as well as you go through that change. In terms of radiate here, you have a couple of different things showing up here. We have a sense of being more open. Whenever I see the little jump ring, it's also to open yourself up to more things, just in general, an idea of openness when we come to this radiate. And then on radiate, you actually got the flower charm. So this is about something that you're blooming in, and it's going to take multiple phases to get there, right? You're going to have just the flower just coming out, the flower starting to open, the flower unfurling, and then the flower going back into itself, all sorts of different ways in which the flower showcases itself. And so I think you're also going to be going through many phases phases as well, as we talked about here with the phases of the moon. And then lastly, we had a lot fall on the Hanged Man or the Hanged One. On the hanged side, it's showcasing that whatever it is that is holding you back or trying to kind of tie you up is probably a lot of thinking that has to do with maybe whatever it is that you're going to be wanting to pursue isn't monetarily all that important, right? It's not about the money. It's not about the things that you would gain from it. It's more about the experience, the fun, the adventure that you'll gain. Because this is just a plastic coin, right? So it's not real, it's fake. And so the idea that you also might be feeling like you might not be able to go on this new journey because you might feel a little bit fake, or you might feel an imposter syndrome, or like, am I good enough to do this? Am I just putting on airs? Is this really me? Can I, and we all have the option to kind of move into a new stage of thinking and a new stage of life and a new way of presenting ourselves, right? We take on different pieces of our identity. I'm a dancer, I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a scientist, I'm a whatever it is, and we put these labels on ourselves. And then when we try to change those labels, it can feel really limiting. And I also see that some of you are also kind of changing up a label that you've always had for quite a long time and shifting it to something else. And so you have to go through that awkward stage. There's also a sense of like feeling possibly rejected, or you've had rejection and changing in the past. We have an X showing up here in the way you're tied up, and then we have the X showing up here as well. Whenever I see the X as well, it also has a lot to do with an actual ex in your life as well, who may have created this rejection or held you back in some way, and maybe that's kind of resurfacing as you go through this month. But I think with more rest and time to kind of consider the whole thing, you're going to realize how small of that pattern is going to continue to be in your life. Whenever I see the little wiener sausage dog here as well, it also reminds me of like stretching things out and not needing to do it all at once too. It makes me think of like the slinky dog, right? So it's just giving yourself a little bit more breathing room. So overall, those are all of your charms and cards here. I had a lot to say for your guys' pile, so I hope you really did enjoy all of the different details. If you did, be sure to give this video a like. It really does help. And also feel free to comment down below how it resonated. I'm always curious to see your thoughts. Do feel free to subscribe as well if you want to learn more about tarot, charm casting, or to see more of these spigot card readings that I put out every single Monday. I have a beautiful little community here, and I'd love to have you a part of it. And if you've been here for a while, do feel free to hit the notification bell as well to be notified of the readings that I put out, so you don't have to miss out on any that might come your way. And then lastly, also, I have relationship readings out still, as this is coming out just before March begins. So if you want to get a relationship reading, a snail mail reading, a digital reading of any kind for your relationships, do feel free to check those out down below. It really does help the channel and supports the space. So thank you to everyone who has. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave you there. But thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'm wishing the best for your month of March. Bye! Hello Group 2, if you've decided to choose this piece of Azurite, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it here so you can see it during your reading here for March. So we're going to be looking into your energy for March, but also for Pisces season, as it's all about the dreamy, beautiful, sort of imaginative, creative state that Pisces really brings to this season and to this month. I also mentioned in the last pile as well that I just feel like right now, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, but just in general, March is both in any part of the world, it's a switch between seasons, right? We're moving from either summer to fall or winter to spring, and with that there comes like this emergence, this shift, this change. The winds are changing in some way. And so I want to see what's really changing or shifting up under the surface, the very beginning rumblings that we have here. So let's see what those are. We're going to be using the charms here. And if you want to learn more about my charm casting journey and how you can use charms and all of that, I have more information on that down below. But also I am going to be using two different oracle decks as well as two different tarot decks. One specifically with the Line Strider Tarot here for your Pisces energy, but we're also going to be using the Star Sisters Tarot today for your main deck to look into March. This one is a handmade deck from my beautiful little sister who made this for me a couple moons ago, and I really, really love it. So I felt really called to it here today, and I hope it does assist you all. But do feel free to get cozy, feel free to get comfy, in whatever way that is for you while we go through this reading. I'm personally wearing a little knit hat and some nice little warm socks. So Anywho's, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to look into 3 main cards into the month of March for you, Group 2. So Group 2, what do you have coming in for the month of March? What is really pulling out for you? Not sure which one really popped out here, but I feel like it's the Queen of Swords. But I want to see what else is showing up here for you. The Queen of Swords has a very analytical point of view, which is very different and kind of the opposite to Pisces energy. So I want to see how that kind of shifts and changes. Let's see, Group 2. We also have the Ace of Swords, a lot of sword energy. I want to see your final card first, and then I'll talk on each of them. And then the Ace of... Ooh, you have 2 aces. We have the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords alongside the Queen of Swords. Okay, you guys have a very interesting pile here. Whenever you get 2 different aces or even 1 ace, there's definitely the rumblings of something new on the surface, or really the possibility of something new. Whenever I see an ace, I think it's always important, no matter what suit it's in, is to remind you that aces are like putting little seeds in the ground and hoping that they'll grow. But they're only showing that right now, in the energetic climate that you're in the season that you're in the environment that you are in, you have a really, really good chance of it growing properly. But it's only if we plant it, right? We can be given seeds. We can be given seeds by the universe and being like, hey, plant this. This is the perfect time to plant it. You should do it now. This is a great time. And it has good potential. And the soil's great. And the sun's wonderful. And the water's going to be great. And the weather's awesome. But if we don't actually plant it, then nothing really comes of it, right? We have to have that beginning stage. And so you have something that you're going to be setting that beginning stage in this month in 2 different sides. So there's a lot of new energy, a lot of new projects that you have the option to take up. With the Ace of Swords, and seeing as you have more sword energy, it has a lot to do with a new way of thinking, a new belief. Swords have a lot to do with research, knowledge, logic, thinking, realizations, those sorts of things. So when I see the Ace of Swords, it's showcasing to me that you have those very beginning realizations, those very beginning ideas starting to bloom. So if you get a shower thought while you're in the shower that's like, you definitely need to write this down about a new book you want to write, or something small you want to do, or something like that, write them down. When you get new thoughts and ideas, really listen to them this month, because there might be something that has the potential to grow into something much bigger and something much richer for you, especially since we have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords has a lot to do with more of that sword energy, but they're at like the top of their suit. They really know their stuff. So right now, I feel like that whatever it is you are growing, it's probably not in something completely new and completely like out there. It's probably something you've started in before, or maybe you've gone down this route within an idea previously. Maybe you didn't fully finish it or something like that. But the Queen of Swords is really got their head on straight. They really have good direction. They're really good at thinking things through, thinking ahead as well. They're really good at thinking ahead. And so I feel like with the Queen of Swords being on your side next to this Ace of Swords, this is probably the one most likely to grow. But like I said, you also have the Ace of Pentacles here. So you have 2 different options of something that's really rich and beautiful right now for you, and holds the potential for something new that you could put in the ground and really grow. And this one is around the idea of something around pentacles. Pentacles have a lot to do with your body, right? So maybe new workout routines, or a new place that you go to, a new it has a lot to do with the earth element, so something physical that you can tangibly touch and feel. So it could be a new home. It could also be changing up your space, right? Moving the sofa, moving this over here, completely rearranging something. But mostly I'm getting a lot to do with career, right? It has a lot of career energy here. So seeing as we have both the aces coming in here, it could be something that's related to career that you're learning and gaining a new position in, right? You could have a new position, you might be moving up, and that could be that new planted seed. It could also be a new person that you're communicating with that could be giving you a lot of really beautiful ideas and new resources. Because these are at those very early beginning kind of fragile stages, right? Like it's still really tiny, right? Because we're at that vulnerable stage of that very early beginnings. It's hard to say exactly which way it's going to go. But the point is, right now, if you want to start something, if you had something that's been on your mind, this is the month to do it. So with that in mind, you have so much freedom here for so many different ideas to flourish. Let's see what else is coming in with your blessings card. So you could see this as blessings, but if that doesn't really fit you, you could also see this as a card to showcase like the best tool in your tool belt this month, or the thing that the energy that's going to be most on your side. So let's see what that lucky energy is. Group 2. Group 222. Okay, that one just flew across. So let's see what you got here. Ooh, we got Warble. Am I singing my song? And I forgot to mention as well, with the sword energy, it has a lot to do with communication, which can be singing and other ways to creatively put new ideas. So singing in the shower or listening to music, shufflemancy could be really useful to you. But in general, I'm seeing with this card, it's showcasing, am I singing my song? Am I singing what I actually want to do? And so what might be rumbling and shifting as well is that maybe this new project is going to be setting you on a path that you actually want to follow versus something that you feel like you've just always been following. Could also be with that Queen of Swords. It can be showcasing that you might have a boss or somebody who has the potential to help you. Honestly, I'm getting a lot of helpful energy from the Queen of Swords, but it can also be that it can be like this authority figure that's kind of the reason why you might be feeling held back to put those seeds in the ground. And the reason why it's like really highlighting, am I singing my song? There's a lot of illumination from the sun here. They have their belly completely exposed to the sun. So I am seeing also that by singing your song, it's going to feel a bit exposing. It's going to feel a little bit like, you know, you can have an idea in your head forever, but once you start putting it on paper, once you start telling the world, like, this is a thing I'm doing, it can feel a little bit vulnerable. It can feel a little bit scary. But I do think that this is going to be something that's really on your side. And I find it interesting too that at the very top, we have sort of an energy showcasing sort of a sword as well as a pentacle, in the same way that we have it over here. And it keeps kind of coming up in multiple ways. I love that. I love that that's showing up here. We're not getting a lot of context, like I was saying. It's not really showcasing like this is exactly what it is. It is a new house. It is a new promotion. It is, you know, a new adventure, whatever it might be. A new song that you're writing, a new passion project, whatever it is. But the point is, there's so much potential in the soil to grow right now. The energetic soil is just ready for you. So let's go ahead and just switch gears here, take a quick second, and let's look at your relationships for the month. So this is going to be a collective card just to look into the energy of your relationships this month. And you can see it as overarching the message more overarchingly and generally, or you can look into and feel free to send your energy in through time and space on a specific energy or relationship that you want to look into. So a relationship with yourself, with spirit, with a partner or a romantic relationship, with a friendship or a more familial one, however you wish. But let's go ahead and see what that is for you all collectively. Group 2. Group 2. Ooh, we got optimism. And it was so funny because I didn't mention it, but I felt really called to the idea that, like, again, you were exposing your belly, and, you know, when, like, a dog or an animal shows their belly, it means that they feel safe. And then these clouds are kind of being pushed away. It almost feels like there's someone in your space right now, a Queen of Swords, perhaps, that is kind of pushing those clouds away, that uncertainty away, rainstorm away, whatever it might be. And they're giving you a little bit more optimism and a little bit more support, which is really lovely to see. It says, after each rainstorm, there will be clear skies. So you have a lot of people who are around you right now that are going to give you a lot of optimism to get something started, to get something moving. Maybe they're even going to be joining you on this journey. But I do see that they either are going to help you sing your song, help you have that unique voice come forward, or just in general, they're just really supporting you on this journey, and they're helping you find the resources you need and to figure it out as you go. So that's really lovely to see. In general, also outside of the energy here, you just have very optimistic relationships going on. So not only are they maybe supporting you, but I can see you could also really be supporting them through their own personal rainstorms. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and move to your final 2 cards, and then we will be pulling the charms here at the end. But if you have been enjoying this reading so far, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much and really supports the space. So truly thank you to everyone who's taken their time to like the video, comment, or subscribe. But we're going to go ahead and look into your Pisces season messages now, right? Pisces is all about the dreamer, the believer, the imaginator, the creator, the visionary. They're the person who can really see not 10 steps ahead of them in an analytical way, but just they're really seeing through the clouds, or they play around in that cloudy fantasy realm and kind of gives them a leg up in that way. So I want to see more on your creativity, the visions that are coming in for you this month energetically, and how you can play around with maybe creativity alongside these new ideas and seeds in which you might be planting. As well as if we get any context too. So we have the 4 of Swords. This one's been coming out a lot. We have another sword energy. So we have 3 swords. I got 3, 3, 3, and 2, 2, 2 coming in quite heavily within this reading. I always really love this little sleepy lion. But let's see your other card first, and then we'll talk about how they work together. They keep trying to jump out, but they haven't decided. I always find that interesting as it happens. So do feel free to send your energy in. It really does sometimes create more clarity within the cards. So we also have the 2 of Swords. Again, that 2, 2, 2 energy is coming through quite heavily. 2 is having a lot to do with partnership and support. 3 is having to do with creativity. So there's a lot happening there. We have the 4 of Swords, the 2 of Swords, the Ace of Swords, the Queen of Swords. Swords energy is coming through heavily. So a lot to do with conversations happening this month. A lot to do with communication being a really good asset and tool in your life this month. But yeah, we have the 2 of Swords and the 4 of Swords. The 2 of Swords has a lot to do with, in this dreamy energy though, I feel like you maybe feel a bit uncomfortable about it. Maybe you're not the most creative person. Maybe you don't, are currently going through kind of a sleepy period, or you feel like your muses aren't talking to you. If you are a very creative person, you're feeling that like kind of ruddy, unclear, kind of sticky energy that a roadblock can be, or a creative block can be. I also am seeing that like in that imaginative realm too, that there is the idea of the sleeper, the dreamer showing up here, right? We have this little sleepy lion, and when they wake up, lions have a lot to do with the energy of really singing their songs, singing that roar, really, being very open and vocal. But right now, maybe this month, it's a lot about, yes, starting on something, but I do think that Pisces season, it might be that this is going to happen towards the end of the month, and as we move through Pisces season up to the 20th or 20-ish of the month, you're going to have a lot of time to kind of dream on it, to imagine, to give yourself a little bit more of that creativity and allow that to come in, because I feel like you might be a more analytical kind of thinker. You might be a person who thinks more logically, more realistically, more to the point, and it maybe is a little bit more difficult for you to play around in that realm, or at least at this time, there's some sort of possible block there. And I do think that might be lifting with this Pisces energy, especially if you explore that creativity a little bit more and see what comes out of it. We also have like a fork in the road kind of energy that I'm getting here from the 2 of Swords. And the 2 of Swords showcasing more of that like fork in the road that we're getting here, with the idea that you have so many different ideas that you maybe want to make a step on, and sometimes when you have so many ideas and so much potential, it almost is a little scary, right? You almost want to just like stay in, like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure what to plan, I don't know if I am feeling overwhelmed. And the 2 of Swords is showing that you don't have to do it all, and you don't have to choose only one path. It can be that the paths together create more than apart, and that's what I'm really getting here too, is this idea that like using both the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords, again, something that's more in that physical, tangible realm, something in career, something around career, and something about using your voice, a promotion, moving up, or that creativity is coming together. And when those bridge, you're actually going to have more together than if you did them apart. So I really see a lot about coming together, partnership, working together, teamwork energy for the month, and especially through Pisces season. And a lot of using your intuition too and connecting to your intuition. Both of these are showcasing their eyes closed as well, right? They have their eyes closed here and their eyes blindfolded here. And they're just sort of following that intuitive feel as well. So really listening to your gut this month can be really useful as well when you're feeling a little bit more overwhelmed or blocked. So like I said, we don't have a lot of context here, and I would love to see if we get any more context clues here at the end of the reading. Otherwise, it just could be that a lot of you chose this pile, and it's more important to know that you have the potential than it is about exactly what it is. So maybe you guys already know what I'm talking about, but we're going to see what comes in with the charms. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space, and we'll get those last little bits and bob details here. Okay. So what I found funny is that the overwhelmed charm in my set kept getting stuck to my ring finger, which a ring finger has a lot to do with your intuition, at least personally I find that association. So the fact that it didn't want to come out just was telling me that there's something that you intuitively are feeling really called towards, and again have that potential towards, but the overwhelmed nature is kind of cutting off that intuitive feel and kind of like, is it anxiety? Should I be doing it? I don't know. And it's just sort of kind of ruminating in your mind. So this had fallen over here towards that Queen of Swords and more towards the Ace of Pentacles. So maybe you're feeling more confident in this one and less in this one. But either way, there definitely is a bit of overwhelm or a little bit of like uncertainty coming through from the intuitive side, the dreamy side, and the side of your month about planting something new. You also have the letter F showing up here on the outside of the board. So in case there's something showing up here, maybe about this Queen of Swords and who they might be, is showing up with the letter F. We also have the letter F showing up, and I'm really getting the idea of like worrying about failure. And I think the only thing I can say there is that's very valid, right? Planting something new is a little bit scary. What if it doesn't grow? What if there's no point to it? What if? What if? But there's a lot of beautiful what ifs that we don't think about, of like, what if it does grow? And that can also be scary. Like, what if it does grow? Where do I go from there? And so I think there's a lot of things that you have, like I said, to kind of understand and ruminate on, or rather contemplate on. And that dreamy nature, giving yourself a little bit of rest to kind of play around with it in your mind a little bit longer before you begin the actual steps and the action steps, is going to be really helpful to you, especially since we have the snowman charm, a lot to be, restful before you kind of melt those layers off. And it also is just gonna, the more you think about it, the more you give yourself time to kind of acclimate to it, I think it'll also help you to kind of warm up to the idea. Because I don't think it's something you've never thought about before, whatever this new potential is, because we do have the cycle charm. But this isn't telling you to break the cycle or to stop continuing or moving forward in this way. It's showing you that it's definitely a really healthy one and a beautiful one to continue on. You also have more over here with flexibility, to allow yourself to be more flexible. And also we have the reindeer charm, which is about believe, right? To believe in yourself, to believe in your skills, to believe in the resources and support you have around you. Because I feel like you're in that rainstorm. I don't know. I'm a little bit uncertain. I don't know if I have it in me kind of nature right now. And towards the end of the month, that sunny, bold, open, exposing, exciting optimistic energy, it will start to come in as those clouds move away. And you acclimate to the idea of moving forward on these little planted seeds. You also have the star showing up here, so some of you might have also been feeling connected to group 1 if you weren't sure between group 1 or 2. I would definitely recommend checking out group 1 as well, in case there's just another part or layer here that you were looking for. And this was up in the clouds too, to showcase like as those clouds move out, you have more of that sun, which is a star, but also it's showcasing that like you're also being able to navigate a bit easier And then lastly here on the Two of Swords, because I'm not really feeling all that called to this one, so I'm going to pop it aside. But we do have the Two of Swords here showing up with the creativity charm. This one has a lot to do with creativity, and also the idea that creativity is feeling a bit boxed in right now, right? That creative jewel is feeling boxed in, held back, kind of pushed aside. And so I feel like that's really showing up here. And your inner child, something that you've maybe wanted to do since you were a teen, a younger adult, or even a child, is really playing around in these new planted seeds. And they might be related to a previous dream you had in the past that you're rediscovering, or allowing yourself to dream and play in again, because we do have the inner child here. This is like little middle school me. So those are all of the cards and charms here for you, group 2. Like I said, I was really feeling that 222, 333 energy. But if you did enjoy this reading, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much, so thank you. And also do feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear your different thoughts and how it resonated for you. You can also subscribe if you haven't already, as I have lots of pick a card readings that you can already check out. I put out new readings every single Monday for you all, and I also do some educational videos as well on charm casting, oracle messages, art magic, and more. So do feel free to subscribe if you want to, and hit the notification bell so you can be updated every Monday as to when these come out. And if you'd like to support this channel even further, do feel free to check out the Kindred tip jar down below, and you can also check out the different private readings I have down below. Right now I'm doing relationship readings, both in snail mail form as well as digital form, and I'm sure I'll have different readings also in the future and other offerings, so you can check those all out down below. And with that all said, I'm wishing you the best for your month of March and through Pisces season, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 3, if you've decided to choose this piece of Sodalite, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be looking into your March blessings and the energy around March, as well as Pisces season. So we have a lot we're going to be exploring here with the charms, as well as several different oracle decks, as well as 2 different tarot decks, which I'll have all of them listed down below. And the 2 different tarot decks we're going to be using here today is the Line Strider Tarot for your Pisces messages, and then the Star Sisters Tarot, which is a tarot deck that my sister actually made for me, and I absolutely love it so much. It does have the Taurus sign here, but that's just because I'm a Taurus, so she made that for me. But I felt really called to this one specifically for the March messages, which we're going to be starting with here first. So do feel free to get comfy, to get cozy, do whatever you'd like to get really ready for this reading. I personally put on a nice little knit hat and some knit little socks and all that kind of stuff to get cozy with you all. But we are going to be looking into March, and March is an interesting one. I feel like it's interesting because in whatever hemisphere you're in, we're going through a flop of seasons, right? We're shifting, the winds are changing, the seasons are changing. We're either moving from summer to fall or winter to spring, and it doesn't matter where you are, the entire earth is shifting and changing, and that's bound to help us continue to create changes and or create changes for us. So I want to see what winds are starting to change for you as we move through March, and also any lucky energy that might be coming through with your blessings. So first, let's start with March. What is shifting and changing there for you, group 3? Do feel free to send your energy in through time and space. It really does make a difference, especially in a collective reading. Group 3. Lots are trying to bounce out here. So we have the 5 of Cups showing up first. A bit about sort of that more emotional energy. And then we also have the 8 of Cups. Okay, so we've got a little bit more of a heavy emotional energy showing up here. And then all of that around the Page of Wands. Okay, and I find it interesting, this Page of Wands specifically, just with the way that my sister has created it, kind of looks like crutches for whatever reason, and I don't think that there's anything physically going wrong, but I do feel like there is something of like a bit of a loss or grief around something, because we do have the 5 of Cups here, and the 5 of Cups has a lot to do with feeling a bit empty. The cup feels empty. You might be feeling a little bit just drained. I feel a lot of drained energy from this card. And then the 8 of Cups showcases that yes, you may have all of these cups, and there's a cup even within this cup, But there's this idea of needing to walk away from something that's emotionally toxic or emotionally draining this month. And that's what's kind of shifting and changing for you. Possibly a realization that it's time to move on, or it's time to let go of something. And that can be really difficult. It can feel a bit uncomfortable, a bit sad, a bit of loss and grief there. I'm not exactly sure what it is about. It feels like it could be related to this Page of Wands. Usually Page of Wands represent a person who could be either yourself, you could see yourself in this card, or another, so do feel free to see how it resonates. But a Page of Wands is usually someone who's more of a young-spirited person. It doesn't necessarily have to be their age, but someone who's more young-spirited, someone who likes to adventure, to be kind of impulsive in their adventures. They really enjoy changing things up, doing new things all the time. They can be really creative, a bit hot-headed at times, but very creative, and very bold and confident as well. So if you see that either in yourself or in someone else, that's maybe where this grief is coming from, or where this emotional turmoil is coming from. I do feel a feeling towards maybe a relationship with someone who is a friend. I feel a lot of friend energy here. But I do see grief, like maybe they're moving away, maybe they're adventuring, maybe you're not seeing them as often this month. Or it could be grief around the idea that, like, just in general, something is coming up around, like, the timing of this time of year feels also related to timing, and the idea that, like, maybe you lost someone around this time of year and you're really thinking about them a lot this month, or wanting to honor them even this month. I could see that too. But I also see on the flip side, for some of you right now, a situation might be going on where you feel a lot of grief around someone that you've lost, or even if it isn't someone, it can also be, right, we can go through our own personal grief as we have these little shifts and changes in time, right? It could also be that you used to see yourself as this Page of Wands, but you're feeling grief towards a previous part of yourself that you're kind of having to move and change and evolve in. And so in that, sometimes we feel grief or feel sadness towards someone, a version of ourselves that we're having to kind of leave behind to survive or to move forward. It could also be that you're just leaving behind a really hard-hitting habit or something like that that could be quite toxic for you, and in doing so, you're maybe losing pieces or parts of yourself as you move forward. But the important thing is, with the Five of Cups, it does showcase, yes, that, like, things have spilled over, cups have been emptied, things are having to move forward, but they're also usually in the depiction of the Five of Cups showcases that there are still cups full, right? It's not all of them that have been emptied. You still have resources, you still have things that you can move forward on and move into and fill up new cups with. And usually they are also standing towards a river, which they could go refill the cups up if they'd like to. But sometimes it takes a bit of that uncomfortable grief before we decide we are ready to get up and refill our cups. And it's okay to sit in that grief period as well. So I just feel a bit of changing, a bit of grief around change right now, and a shift that might be happening for you. That is usually, at the moment, it's feeling like a shift for your betterment, but it doesn't always feel that way in the moment. So being really tender, being very empathetic with yourself, giving yourself a little bit more grace this month is going to be really important. And knowing that using your gut feelings and really listening to what your emotions are telling you is the right choice to make could be really useful for you as well, and letting yourself lead with your heart over your head this month. With that in mind, let's look into what energy is going to be on your side this month. So, right, we're seeing a lot of other energy showcasing those flipped over cups that you're having to leave behind, resources that are toxic and are time to leave. But we also have, like I said, those cups that are on the other side, the cups that we can either refill, or cups that are already still on our side that we can count on. So what energy is on your side this month, and what energy can you count on to be kind of a blessing for you? So, oh my goodness, you got the Bison. I love this card. And then you also had this one showing up at the top of the deck that just felt like it was buzzing in my hand. But you have, like I said, the Bison as well as the card of the Earthworm. A beautiful combo to be getting here. The Bison says here, be. How can I know myself as absolute And it's just allowing yourself to be more tender, to just allow yourself to be in a situation that maybe just kind of sucks, you know what I mean? And that's okay. It's okay to be in a situation that sucks. It's okay to be going through a lot of emotions this month. It's okay if things feel a little bit more heavy, or even lighter, but in the end still do feel a bit heavy, right? Because even though we've lifted that weight, we've moved away from something that could be toxic or something that wasn't good for us anymore, there still can be that weight of that leaving, that tether that we might still feel. And that's okay to kind of breathe through and move through. And then with that, you have the breath, right? We have breathe with earthworm. Do I accept myself without judgment? So impactful and important for you this month, the idea of allowing yourself to not only be giving yourself a bit more tenderness is going to be really on your side this month, to be a little bit more fluid with yourself, give yourself a little bit more grace. And then also when we talk about the earthworm, right, a lot of people don't really want to think about the earthworm being something that's on their side, right, a little creepy worm, right? I don't really want that, but the worm really tells us a lot about our breath. It tells us a lot about how our breath in general can be a really soothing, great way to be tender with ourselves in a physical sense. So learning how to do breaths and different breath work, meditations and things like that can help you work through these emotions, that can help you in a really emotional state as well when you're in really big, powerful emotions that you're not wanting to say the wrong thing or lash out or project. Giving yourself a moment to breathe can be super, super helpful. And it's so simple that a lot of us just don't end up doing it, or it feels silly. But I just really trust the process, because the earthworm's really on your side this month, and the idea of that breath, especially where you have two different things showcasing this really like scratchy under the surface energy. And I really think that breath is going to help even your breaths out, help with alleviating any anxiety around this. I think it could be really helpful for you. The earthworm is also giving this feeling too, to allow yourself to kind of burrow in the earth and allow the earth and nature and places like that to be natural, literally to just be in them, in natural places, in getting some vitamin D, going out and getting some sunshine could be really helpful as well as you move through this situation and find a little bit of more healing and peace. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and move on and take a little switch here towards your relationships this month. So we're going to pull a relationship card. I like to do these collectively each month for each of you. And as this is a collective reading, you can just look into this as the collective message, but you can also feel free to send your energy. And if you're thinking about a specific person or a few people and that specific relationship, so maybe it's a relationship with a family member, a friend, a romantic partner, or even with yourself or spirit. So let's go ahead and see what is coming in energetically for your relationships this month. Group. Ooh, we got two of them. Group 3. So first off, we have anchor, keep yourself grounded, and strength, stay afloat and feel steady and calm. Interesting. These are very different cards, right? We have the anchor, which yes, can give us strength in the waves of the ocean, right? Helping us feel steady. But it also is showcasing strength in sort of moving through the waves. And I feel like there's this juxtaposition that's happening between each of your cards, showcasing like this feeling of wanting to kind of run away. Even the Page of Wands just gave me this energy. I didn't notice this earlier, but there is a bit of like wanting to run away from your problems instead of kind of process them this month, and kind of keeping yourself grounded and having others kind of come in to be your strength, to give you strength, to remind you of your own strength, and that they can be a beautiful resource for you, is really impactful. I really feel like there's people in your life right now who really want to be your anchor through these really emotional circumstances that you are in or might find yourself in this month, and to allow them to be your strength. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a person. This relationship can also be with yourself or with nature or with another type of relationship that you might be looking towards. But the important part about the anchor is that yes, they'll be your strength, but you don't have to lean on them entirely. That eventually you'll be able to pull that anchor back up and be able to hold that weight on your own. and be able to still set sail. So to finish off your reading, we will be moving on to the charms here in just a moment, but I want to pull you 2 cards for Pisces season, which is the season all about the dreamer, which I'll talk more about here in a second. But I do just want to remind you, if you are enjoying this reading so far, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much. So thank you to everyone who has done that, or left a comment, subscribed, or any other form of support. I really do appreciate it. But we're going to talk about Pisces season, and it is a season all about the dreamer, like I was talking about, like the dreamer, the imaginator, the visionary. They have such a powerful creative nature and center to them, a fantastical kind of head in the clouds nature to them. And so as you move through this, and they can be very emotional as they are connected to both the mutable sign of Pisces, obviously, but also to the water element, which is very fluid and emotional and open and kind of free in that way. I want to see what's coming in for you through Pisces season this month. So what is Pisces season trying to kind of give you vision, give you a little bit of maybe even tenderness through these emotions this month? Group 3, what do you need to hear from the visionary and believer of Pisces? So we have the 7 of Wands, as well as one more card here. Group 3. The 4 of Pentacles. I do see a lot of 4 energy coming through in general for collectively, which has a lot to do with that resistance to change. But in general, you have both the 4 of Pentacles and the 7 of Wands. And the 4 of Pentacles is showcasing kind of, again, that gentleness, that tenderness. It doesn't really show it that much in this card, but the 4 of Pentacles has a lot to do with like kind of holding yourself back or withholding yourself in, giving yourself a bit of time to kind of come in, to rest, take some time off, and to give your body especially a bit of a break, because I don't think we talk enough about how much grief can also kind of hold itself within the body. So again, being able to take some time off, to take some time in and really meditate, to relax, to let your body relax as well through this stage, especially through the idea that it creates a very heightened emotion, as we're seeing in the 7 of Wands. The 7 of Wands feels like you're feeling cornered, feeling put off, feeling held back. I feel like there's one more card here. For whatever reason, I feel like we need to pull one more. There's a missing thread here. Group 3. What is this missing thread coming through from Pisces season and the energy of Pisces? Okay. So we have here, first off, more of that strength energy, but also we had the King of Cups show up here. And the King of Cups has a lot to do with, again, kind of feeling ripped open, feeling very raw. They almost look like a cup, right? Like a cup of water sloshing and moving around. And so it's showcasing that you don't always have to have everything put together. A king is supposed to have everything put together, right? They have the crown on, they have, loyalty from those around who look up to them. And you might have people looking up to you right now. And it's okay that you might not be in the best position right now or in your most top-notch position this month. It's okay that you need a little bit more tenderness and love given back to yourself as well, because I feel like you have a lot of people who are really looking up to you, and I feel like this Pisces energy is just reminding you that it's okay to be in that emotional state. Pisces is all about really that emotional watery state, and so giving yourself a little bit of that rest before these winds of change could be really useful for you, and to give a little bit more acceptance of your emotions and reminding yourself of the validity that they hold. So with that sort of mind, let's go ahead and move on to your charms here, group 3, and see what else is in store for you for those last little bits and bob details to get some more context. So here we go, group 3. Okay, so this is what we've got here. Not too many charms. I feel like they didn't want to overwhelm you. But the charms that we do have here are mostly falling in the center. We have most of them falling. I'm going to go ahead and just move this king out of the way since they're mostly falling here on these two cards. Here on the bison card, we have a forward movement charm. So whenever I see the castle in chess or the rook in chess, it represents the idea that a forward movement, just like in a chess game. But also, what we don't talk about enough is, yes, forward movement is really important, but also needing to take a step back can be just as impactful, especially in the game of chess, right? A lot of people are always wanting to push their pawns, move things forward. If you're not used to chess or you don't play chess, maybe this won't make sense to you, but the point is, it's okay to take a step forward and then take a step back. It's okay to retreat. It's okay to give yourself a little bit of that time, and that's coming through within here, especially since we do have the grief charm of the flower. This is a flower that is wilting, that has died, is kind of come to its end, and so I feel like you're accepting and moving through that acceptance of an end. Also, this is showcasing more of that King of Cups energy that I was talking about with that crown, of feeling like you have authority to other people or someone looking up to you, and that's showing up here even more on the bison, and showcasing it all on that crown. So really, if you're definitely feeling a lot of energy of like kids or partners or other people in your life that are just really looking up to you, it might be important to just let them know, hey, I really need some mental health time, and that's totally valid. And if they don't understand that or are too young to understand that, then it might just be something you have to move and work through with them together. Other things here, we have the caution hat, and the caution hat is showing up here with the breathe. But the thing is, the caution hat didn't fall like on your head, it fell on its side, which is telling me that it's throwing caution to the wind, or allowing yourself to sort of be a little bit more open, especially within your breath. So yes, sometimes taking a moment to get a little bit of a breath or a breather can seem silly, can seem funny in the moment, especially with heightened emotions, but it's really important, and I think it's something that's showcasing here for you. And then lastly, here on the Seven of Wands, we have the temporary charm. So this is showcasing that, yes, grief sucks, that whatever you're going through really does suck, and you know, that's something to acknowledge, and it's totally valid to be frustrated and upset about it. On the same token, it's also showcasing here that it is temporary. It's a temporary thing. Whenever I see the paperclip, it represents a temporary hold on your life or on yourself, an energy that is only here for a temporary amount of time. I just saw 2222 on the clock here on my camera, so that also might be coming in as well. Again, more support. People who are around you, the relationships in your life are really coming through quite heavily, and spirit really being on your side as well to give a little bit of, to maybe make a little bit more space for you. I see that as well, that they're working in the background to give you a little bit more space this month. So overall, those are all of your cards and charms here. I do hope that you found this reading useful and helpful for you for your month. I'm giving so much love and care and tenderness to you all, and I really truly do hope you find a little bit more acceptance within the grief that you might be going through. Even if it's just something small, you know, it's valid to feel that way. So if you did enjoy this reading, even if it was a bit of a heavy one, do be sure to give this video a like, as well as let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you, if you feel open to it. Also, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more readings like this in the future. I do readings every single Monday for pick a card readings, but you can also check out the other readings that I have on charm casting. I have an entire master guide on it. I did a video also on how to create your own oracle deck and other things on art magic and stuff like that. So if you're interested in any or all of that, do be sure to subscribe. And you can also support the channel with the Kindred tip jar down below. It all goes back to the channel. And you can also check out my private readings down below for relationship readings, which are ending at the end of the month of February, as I'm putting this up just at the start of the new month. But you can also check out the other private readings that I'll have in the future this month, and any other offerings, as they all really help to support this channel as well as yourself. So I am wishing you the best for your month of March. So much love and care and tenderness sent to you. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.